Okay, the second part of our actually investment and tax series is investing into your house. This morning, this idea just came into my mind. It's regarding about an investment into a house, into a home. And the advantage about this, that's not necessarily financial, but it has like a big reward behind it. It's the fact that you can have some stability. If you have a home and then you know that you're not gonna be moving, all around, so on and so forth. Moving is kind of painful, as a matter of fact, just like a parenthesis. But that stability that it creates for you, it's amazing. There's, like I said, it's very hard to put a financial reward to that. So having a home just create that stability for you. And then from there you can go out and then go to your work, do your job, whether it's for profit or non-profit. You have better chance to actually exceed, if you have that stability home. Now, we have to talk about, inside the house. Yes, you definitely need to have, a stability there with your family, so on and so forth. But if you have a home, in my personal opinion, it gives you that stability for you to go out and then to conquer, for you to go out to do, whether it's for profit or non-profit. So that's one thing that I wanted to mention about this video. Investing into a house has a lot of reward to it. And one of the things that we really have to keep in mind is there are different ways people go about thinking about this. Is, for instance, they think a house is a liability, or a house is an asset. Personally, I believe it's an amazing asset if you can purchase a house that's within your means, something that's not expensive, or something that you can afford. I'll just put it this way: something that you can afford. I think it's an extremely great investment. And I've seen a couple of different financials series or advice, and one of them is definitely part of your house. Having a house is definitely like a a good financial strategic move. So that being said, is now when it comes to taxes, let's look at the tax benefit about that. Now, the first thing is, when you have a house, the interest on your mortgage is deductible. So let's say that you're paying a mortgage. Basically, the interest portion is deductible into your taxes. So that's like a major part. The second part is it's regarding your taxes. Here in Florida, we have property taxes, and whether you have an exemption on the house or you don't have an exemption, that property taxes is deductible under your personal taxes. And then the third part about it, and I think which is the amazing advantage that the tax code provide, is, for instance, you can have a gain of, if you're single, you can have a gain of up to 250,000 on a house, and when you sell it, and then you don't have to pay any tax on that money. Now, you need to consult an accountant to see that if you qualify for it. But let's say that you have a home and then you've been living in that home for the past, 5 to 10 years. And then now you decide to sell the home. Now, if you're single, your gain is less than 250,000. You take all of that money, you don't have to pay any taxes on it. I think that's amazing. Now, if you're married, it goes all the way to 500,000. So that's one of the thing is, it's a long-term investment, but it's definitely a great investment of having a house. So those are the three major things that I would say for housing that's kind of really important. Now, definitely there are some pros and then some cons, about having a house. Like, for instance, a pro, depending on the type of retirement accounts that you have, some of the retirement accounts do allow you to withdraw some money out of your retirement account without paying any penalty on it, in order for you to purchase your first home. Like I said, you need to sit down with your accountant to more or less strategize this to see if it will be good for you. Okay. Another thing also is the PMI. The insurance that you're paying on your mortgage, right? This is deductible as well into your taxes. Now, the other advantage that the tax code provide is, let's say that you're buying an AC, that's energy efficient. So you're trying to make your house more energy efficient. That's deductible in your taxes as well. Like I said, those things, they have some limitation, and then they have some requirements. So you have to make sure you consult with an accountant to see, hey, what? Do I fit into that criteria? But that's one thing to know is if you're making your house more energy efficient, there's a tax credit for that. And then finally, when you're purchasing a house, your closing costs. That's one of the things to keep in mind. Your closing costs, they are deductible. So those four items are kind of deductible into your taxes, which makes having a house, a great investment. Now, of course, there are some drawback to it. A lot of the time, I have clients asking me, okay, is the association dues, is that deductible? No, unfortunately, the association dues is not deductible. The home insurance, is that deductible in your taxes? No, it's not deductible. Or even the maintenance that you pay, whether it's for the pool, whether it's for the for the gardening, whatever that it is, that it's not deductible. But at the end of the day, I think it's an amazing investment, and you really have to sit down. A lot of the time, I have clients ask me, okay, is it better to rent or is it better to own a house? Now, for all the reason that I just mentioned before, is if you're renting, you cannot deduct those items, and then especially remember that idea about the accumulation. So for instance, you can be in your house for 5 to 7 years, and I have several clients who did this, where they had their house for a couple of 5, 10 years, and when they were ready to sell, they cash in about like 100,000, without paying a dime in taxes. So that's one of the things. There's a great advantage about owning a house. And then you have to sit down with your accountant, with your financial advisor, to see if this is something that you're ready to do now, because you have to get qualified, especially in terms of your taxes if you're applying for a mortgage. So the process can be a little bit complicated, but at the end of the day, if you ask me personally, is it a great investment? I'll tell you, yes, it's a great investment. Thank you.